By the Ukraine war, another important global event looms on the horizon. In just a few days from now, negotiators in Vienna are expected to restore the Iran nuclear deal. The talks involve representatives from the U.S., Russia, China, and, of course, Iran. Now, you might recall Iran pulled out of their first treaty after the Trump administration imposed sanctions on Tehran. This time around, Russia, China, and Iran have reportedly banned together to ensure Iran winds up with a better deal, and one that will not penalize Moscow for invading Ukraine. With us now is national security and foreign policy expert Ari Aramesh. Ari, it's kind of baffling. So here's the deal. They have a lead Russian negotiator who is bragging about the fact that Russia, China, and Iran have now teamed up to get this sweetheart deal in these revived nuclear talks. And this diplomat says, quoting here, Iranian colleagues are fighting for their national interests like lions. They fight for every comma, every word, and as a rule, quite successfully. I am absolutely sincere in this regard when I say that Iran got much more than it could expect. Our Chinese friends were also very efficient and useful as co-negotiators. What in the world is going on here, Ari?
You know, you have to wonder, is Mr. Ulyanov, the Russian negotiator, trying to really sink the deal and tank the deal by coming out and saying things like this? Or is he really trying to appease his Iranian audience to convince them they're getting a good deal? Trace, let me back up a little bit. Let's see what happened. The Iranian side has always been worried about another U.S. withdrawal from the deal after President Trump took power in 2017. Based on his campaign promises, he withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal, or the JCPOA. And the Iranians have always been concerned. So their initial demand was a congressional guarantee. They wanted this to be a treaty. They said if President Biden were to reach a deal with Iran, he's got to take it to the Senate. We know that's not going to happen. Article 2, Section 2, U.S. Constitution says for a treaty to become the law of the land, you need 2/3 of the Senate approving that deal. It becomes a treaty, becomes law of the land. We know clearly those votes don't exist. The second problem is this. Now, in 2015, after President Obama got the deal with the Iranians, Congress passed the Iran Nuclear Review Act, which means if you go and make any changes to the original JCPOA, you got to bring it back to the floor of both houses of Congress, get a vote on it. We know that's not going to happen. So what they're trying to do is try to revive the old deal. So Iran again retreated and said, how about this? Give us a non-binding resolution. At least the Speaker of the House should say, okay, well, nothing will happen. Now, here's the problem. Bottom line is this. Now, Iran's sort of patrons, the Russians, are now finding themselves to be in the same place that their clients like Khamenei and Assad are. Putin is now becoming an international pariah. So the Russians are trying to also carve out a little piece for themselves to be able to benefit from the deal and try to carve out a little exemption in the sanctions.
Well, because the old Russia wanted to contain Iran, right? I mean, the old Russia was like, we got to contain Iran. The new Russia is like, oh, we got to bring down the West. We don't care at what cost. We need to bring down the West. And if it brings, Iran a better nuclear deal, well, so be it.
You know, the old Russians and even the new Russians have always looked at the Iranian regime as a quick piggy bank. You ring it, you open it, you get cash out of the till. They are the ones who built the largest nuclear reactors and facilities in Iran. The Bushehr facility has cost the Iranians, that's their largest facility, has cost the Iranians billions over the budget. Who's building it? The Russians. Who's caused the delays? The Russians. Who's asked for more money? The Russians. And who's negotiating on their behalf in Vienna? The Russians. So you see, there's a deal here, as if you're, the same guy who is giving you the loan, the same guy who's taking the loan, and the guy who's enforcing the loan is the same person who's doing the negotiation. So you can't really ask for much good faith from the Russians. But what's interesting here is this. What are we willing to give up to revive the deal? There are rumors that sanctions against Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader, might be lifted. There are rumors that, and these are not rumors, these are some credible information that are coming from sources in Vienna, from the State Department, and from the National Security Council, that we might lift sanctions on the IRGC, that's the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. What's going to happen if that were to happen? And again, what are the Iranians willing to give up? We know for sure that changing their behavior is something almost impossible. The Iranian regime is based on anti-American, anti-Israeli ideology. Giving that up is like giving up the whole house. So that's not what they're going to do.
Yeah, I got to go. I just wanted your take very quickly, Ari, on this whole thing. We're speaking of deals. You know, Boris Johnson coming out saying he's against the oil embargo against Russia. The Biden administration is warming up to it. What do you think as gas outside the door is kind of nearing $7 a gallon?
Well, I saw pictures yesterday from my hometown in L.A. Gas looking at $7.11. That's high. But, you know, Trace, it's difficult. Right here in London, gas is now about $1.65. £1.65 per liter. That's much more expensive than it's ever been. Question is this, though. We cannot allow the Russians, or anyone for that matter, to hold the West and the free world hostage for cheaper gas and cheaper coal and cheaper petroleum. It just cannot happen. We shouldn't let it happen. It's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. It's going to be temporary. We're going to write this out. Yep.
Seems like a necessary evil. Ari Aramesh, always great to see you, sir. Thank you for coming on.
You bet.
And when we come back, Russia's attacks on Ukrainian nuclear facilities causing alarm worldwide. And that's next as we take a live look at Kyiv, the capital of the war.